Hi everyone, this is question 7 of the ACJC paper. Is marriage overrated in your society? I wanted to do this question because of this term overrated. I think it's a worthwhile term to understand well because it might be applied to other topics for the A-level exam. So overrated is this idea of valued too highly. I think one of the ways you can think of overrated is if you can think of some social influences and then pushing some kind of a product that's very pretty and trending, some kind of food product, that looks really cool and impressive. But then when you taste it, it's just utterly disappointing. And then you say it's overrated, right? And so the outcome of something being overrated is that it's utterly disappointing. It doesn't meet our expectations. And so in that sense, we're just really let down, right? So if you have this sense of what overrated means, you can think of your topics under this, or you can think of in terms of how we value or what we expect marriage to be, but then ultimately how it might be disappointing or how it doesn't meet our expectations. So the topic is on marriage. This part is very important. It's about your society. So it must have a very strong Singapore flavor. It has to be about marriage in Singapore's context. You have to be talking about particularly Singaporean things. So for this question, I would suggest that you start with this idea of asking yourself, what do we expect marriage to do or to be? I mean, when I think of marriage and I think of what we expect it to be, I cannot help but think that we expect marriage to give us happiness. We expect it to fulfill us, to make us less lonely, perhaps to give us purpose in life, I don't know. But this is very strong narrative of marriage being about finding your soulmate and having someone to be there for you, right? In Singapore's context, marriage gives respectability. If you're married, you are a reliable member of society because you're part of a family, which is the foundation of society. And so there's a very, perhaps in Asian culture, you can say there's a very strong pressure, maybe not pressure, but it is associated, it's a good thing to get married, right? And people expect you to get married. And if you don't get married every Chinese New Year, they'll ask you, oh, you're going to get married. And then after you get married, they'll ask you, oh, you're going to have kids. And so there's this idea that it's a natural milestone of life. And it's a very strong foundation of society. Right. Of course, if you look at what we expect marriage to do, then you can ask yourself, how does marriage disappoint? Right? Or how does marriage fall short? Of course, when we think of that fairy tale marriage and happy ever after, it doesn't really happen in real life. Yeah, divorce, rising divorce rates, and affairs, domestic abuse, so much. Real life, it's not pretty, and of course, when you're thinking of even when I first said that marriage will give us happiness, you also will be realizing that marriage, that happiness begins with ourselves, right? Nobody can make us happy. We have to find our own happiness, and it might be a myth, that somebody else can fulfill us in that way, even a soulmate. Now, a little, but different conversation. Okay. There's something to be said about marriage in Singapore's context, being between a man and a woman, and how marriage in Singapore's context is not particularly inclusive of different family structures. And so overrated, and yeah, not particularly inclusive of different family structures. And in that sense, it doesn't, and so it doesn't encapsulate all the types of bonds people have. I'm sorry, this is not written very well. But there's something here as well about how we think marriage encapsulates true love between people who want to be, but in Singapore's context, it's a heteronormative type of bond, and so it's not that inclusive. Okay, and so this is the essay. I actually just wanted to show you that for this essay, you can just go from what we expect marriage to be to how it disappoints to get to this idea of how it is overrated. You don't really go from how it is not overrated to how it's overrated. I mean, I think that's much harder to do. Going from just how we value it highly to how it's valued too highly, and how it disappoints works as well. Okay, of course, this is not the only way to approach this essay. These are just suggestions. Okay, thank you very much.